Okay, you guys, so the first goal that we're going to do a video on here deals with goal number 1, which is rewriting interval notation as an inequality. This is a pretty simple process if you try to think about the problems logically. Okay, so take a look at our first one here, letter A we'll call it. When we're looking at the values for an interval from negative infinity to 3, we're talking about values that go from basically 3 and then all the way down to negative infinity. So when we look at those values, we're talking about then 2, 1, 0, and so on and so forth in the negative infinite direction. Now, when we're writing an inequality, we don't know what these values are going to be. These values could be anything. They're completely unknown, so we're going to call these values x. Okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to take those values and we're going to compare those values to our value of 3 in our inequality. Okay? Because that's the value that we have right here. We can't compare it to negative infinity because negative infinity, remember, is not a number, it's a concept. Okay? So if we go ahead and compare the two values, we look at 2 and 3. Well, all the values of, or the value of 2 is less than 3, and 1 is also less than 3, and so on and so forth. They're all less than 3. So all these values are going to be less than 3. Now the question is, can we include 3 as a value? Well, if we look at our bracket right here, remember, bracket means we can equal or include it. Parenthesis means we can't. That means we can include 3 as one of the values. So we're going to say x is less than or equal to 3. Let's look at the second one. Same concept. This time we're going from negative 2 to positive infinity. So if we look at letter B here, we're going from negative 2 to infinity would be negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and so on and so forth. Now, we're going to take all those values. We don't know what they are. So we're going to go ahead and compare them, and we're going to say x, and we're going to compare them to negative 2. And we're going to say, all right, what's the relationship between all these values to the right and negative 2? All those values that are to the right are all going to be greater than negative 2. Question now is, can they be equal to negative 2? Well, if we look at our grouping symbol here that's around negative 2, we have a parenthesis, which means we cannot include, therefore we cannot equal negative 2. Okay? Letter C, and feel free to pause it when you're doing these videos. Feel free to pause them and try working through it on your own first, okay? Letter C is the one that's going to be probably the most challenging of all 4 of these on the page here. What we're saying is look at the values from 4 to 10, okay? Well, we use 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and all the decimals that are in between as well. We're saying that the values are going to be between 4 and 10. So we're going to say that those values which we don't know, which are going to be x, because we don't know them, are going to lie between 4 and 10. So then we have to ask ourselves, well, what's the relationship between this unknown value that's in the middle and each one of these between the 10 and the 4? If we look at it, the value for x in compared to 10 is that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Those are all less than 10. Okay? Those are all less than 10. Can they equal 10? If we look at our grouping symbol, they cannot equal 10. What about the values of x in relation to 4? Well, if we look at 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, those values are all going to be bigger than 4. Now, the conventional way of thinking is that we say that those values are going to be bigger. Well, when you look at that, you're saying that 4 is bigger than those values, which is not right. So we have to actually think about this in the other sense that these values are bigger than 4. So we're going to say the mouth will go this way. Okay? The final thing then is, can we equal 4? We sure can. So we're going to include it, and there's our inequality. What you'll find is that every single inequality you guys ever write will always be with the arrows pointing to your left. Okay? And then the last one, no less than 9. So if I said, give me no less than $9, you have to think about what values those are. Those would be 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on and so forth. But you notice that I wrote 9. I can equal 9, okay, because it's not less than 9. So all those values, we don't know what they are. We're going to say there's x and there's 9, and we're going to compare them to each other. All those values, are they bigger than 9 or less than 9? Well, it says no less than 9, so that's opposite. So we're going to say they are all more than 9. Can they equal 9? Yes, they can. And that concludes goal number 1. Stay tuned for more videos on the other objectives.